Okay, here we go. Episode 6, I think it is. I'm here with Wendy, and she's going to share her story about Lily and what she's doing since the passing of Lily and the purpose that she has. So, if you don't mind, Wendy, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us about Lily.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. So, my name is Wendy Parrish, and I'm here because my niece, Lily Pease, she passed away at the age of 18 from fentanyl poisoning. And I say fentanyl poisoning because she did not know that she was taking fentanyl. So, it was hidden in a substance, it's odorless, tasteless. She had no idea it was in there. And she died at the age of 18 with enough fentanyl in her system to kill 10 people. So that's when, of course, my family had never heard of fentanyl. So I started looking into this, and that's when I found out what a horrible epidemic this is going on with fentanyl hidden in so many different substances and fake pills out there. And so I started Lily's Light, which is a registered nonprofit that brings awareness to fentanyl, fake pills, and the opioid crisis that's in America right now. I work at a university, so it's I had that connection every August. Oh, my Lily passed in August 17th of 2016. And so every August, when I see all the new 18-year-old students, first year students coming onto campus, I see Lily everywhere. I see her in all their faces. And I just have this need to warn them and let them know what's out there, because the best protection we can give them right now is knowledge so
Yeah.
that they're aware of what is out there. So I went to the university and just said, I don't know if it's standing on the corner handing out flyers or what, like I have to do something. And
Right.
that's just how I found my purpose through the pain was focusing on helping other families.
I'm glad you said that about the 18-year-olds because that's kind of what I like. I mean, I've talked at the elementary schools, the high schools, and some of the colleges. And in fact, I just spoke at my church where they had 300 uh, seniors that are about to go off school. And I always say this is when they're leaving the nest and they're going to go out on their own. And yes, experimentation is going to happen. But the other thing that I want to focus on is imagine being with your family for 18 years and then you're out by yourself. I could see depression or isolation or, not having any new friends, something like that hit you. And we got to warn these kids, it's not just the pills, it's in marijuana now, it's in the vape pens.
It's in
And
the vape pens,
yeah,
right? Exactly. I have a friend that lost her brother he bought I guess they call it a dime bag of marijuana and it had fentanyl in it. So it is out there in marijuana and in vape pens.
yeah,
And so again, we need to get this information out so that they can be aware, because it is scary out there. No longer can you experiment, I guess you'd
right,
say, like we call it back in the day or whatever. The worst that could happen was you would overdose from what you were taking.
right,
But now you think you're taking one thing, you might think you're taking a Xanax or an Adderall or a Percocet, but there's fentanyl hidden in it
yeah,
and a dangerous, lethal amount of fentanyl.
yeah,
So they don't even know what they're taking. And this is the time, right? You go to college and they say, hey, let's crush an Adderall and study for the night, or take
yeah.
a Xanax to, ease the tension. So what looks like a harmless pill turns out to be worse than if someone was handing you heroin.
Exactly. And I remember the when I was doing some of the national parks and everything, and everybody would just say, "Well, my kid just smokes pot." Or something like that. And I'm like, that's not even safe. And I'm not saying this as a PSA, but I've never had any issues with marijuana. I never smoked marijuana. I think I tried it in high school, but I always tell people unless you're growing it in your backyard, do not touch it. Because I know that some of the legal dispensaries are selling it on the side, and that's where some of the fentanyl laced marijuana comes from. So you,
Absolutely. You don't know what you're getting. And
yeah,
so that's just it. It's like there's no safe way now. And it's, the whole, well, I know him, I get things from him all the time, and that person might get it. But that doesn't mean that this time it's safe.
Yeah.
and like they say, fentanyl clumps together. So if you break a Percocet or an Adderall in two and you each take part of it, one of you might die and the other
Right.
one doesn't because
Yeah.
it clumps together. So there's just no safe way. And, I know that there's fentanyl test strips out there. And I have Narcan that I hand out to students, staff, anybody that wants it. I also have fentanyl test strips, but I feel like it's a false sense of security because unless you annihilate the pill and smash it completely and test all of it, you don't really know if there's any fentanyl in it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gives a false sense of security because if someone says, I tested this pill, it's fine. Well, unless it's annihilated and
Yeah.
ruined, they didn't test the whole thing.
Are the test strips legal in Florida?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what we're fighting for here in Texas is right now they're illegal. Texas says, well, just don't do drugs and they don't have to worry about it. Well, it's and they're the test strips I've always talked about, even like the people that are addicts that are using, and if somebody's using some cocaine, I guarantee you they're not going to want to waste any of that on testing it. It's a waste of thinking. I talked to SMU, the college. I talked to a bunch of sorority girls there, and they admitted that they bought a test strip online, and they were at a party and they tested some of the cocaine, and it was good. And I said, you have to test all of it. And so just don't do it. But it's you're telling the young something they don't want to hear, and it's not going to happen to me. They all say that. Or the
Right.
biggest misconception I always got was, oh, I get it now. It's a poison. I just thought, don't give me the one with fentanyl in it. Like there's a choice. So,
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, the one that doesn't have fentanyl. Like, can I have gluten free? Can I have the
yeah,
fentanyl free?
exactly. So I just tell people, I mean, I always joke when I've done stuff with the DEA on stage and U.S. attorneys and they do their government slides and all that. And they say one pill can kill. And I always say, whatever they just said, don't listen to them. It's not one pill can kill. It's one try you die now because it isn't everything. That's where the ice bucket thing came from is just, it's one try you die. So
Yeah, yeah.
you just
I like that.
don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're
And we
getting.
did that ice bucket
I
challenge.
know. And I am, in fact, whoever watches this that haven't done it, has not done it yet, we're still coming after you. You got till October 3rd or 4th, something like that, when we do our big beach event. But yeah, I'm going to come after them. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
So,
good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, and Ashley it was Ashley, her daughter, and we did it out by the pool and it turned into something unexpected but hilarious and
oh, yeah.
fun. So
Oh,
it was
well, I joke. I'm even the people in Texas, I'm like, it's 100 degrees. Are you waiting for it to get a little warmer? Is that it? So, but
right.
so
Yeah.
it's, but yeah, so I appreciate y'all doing that. And then I saw the video that you sent over where she did it for ALS. Lily did. And I
Lily
thought,
does,
wow,
yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
it's kind of wild that it's come full circle now.
Yeah,
And it's, it's so sad to think that, I have two videos of Lily, one of her young when she's sledding, and the other one, her doing the ice bucket challenge. And I don't know, I guess just because she passed in 2016, maybe we just didn't do video as much, or we just
right.
were too in the moment. But it's so sad now that like I can't just hear her voice whenever I want or see her mannerisms, right? Because that's what you miss. You miss the way she would smile, or the way she would talk, or the way she would call my name. Like I still swear I can still hear her calling Auntie Wendy from the other room.
Well, I think
So
we
those things you
also I think we take advantage because we're not expecting our children to pass. So it's like we will have them for the rest of our lives. So do we need to capture every moment? Actually, I say now you have to. I mean, because you just don't
miss.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
and I did. I found old VHS tapes of Preston, at Christmas and stuff like that. But then I really don't have anything, when he was a teenager and stuff like that. One of his girlfriends sent me a couple of videos that were funny, the little 5-second videos, and I got those, and I was just like, this is awesome. Just to see him again and hear his voice, like you said. So.
Exactly, just watching them move, right? Their mannerisms and everything. Yeah, and I even put out like a call on Facebook. Anyone have any video?
Yes.
I need to hear her. I need to see her. And it's just, yeah, everyone's like, yeah, like we have tons of pictures, but we have no videos. So yeah, that's something that sadly was a lesson, a hard lesson for me. And so, with my grandmother, with my family, like I'm doing a lot more videos,
Oh
and
yeah.
just so that you can keep that close.
What was it like for you guys the first year? And I mean, no, I guess your is it your brother that is the yeah. I mean, I don't know if they don't. I guess they don't speak much about it. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I mean,
Right. No, and yeah, and I don't mind sharing at all.
okay,
Hopefully it helps other families. So the first year was extremely hard. I mean, I'll never forget the day, right? It's kind of like remembering where you were on 9/11.
right,
You never forget where you were, what you were doing, who was with you, how everything went dark and everything spun. You just couldn't, like your brain just honestly, and you hear this a lot, like people are like, I thought they were kidding, or I didn't understand what they were saying, because you really don't think that, a child in your family is going to
yeah,
pass. And so I never had children. I wasn't able to. So when my brother had Lily, it was just like a gift for all of us. She
gotcha.
was the first child for my brother. She was the first grandchild, my first niece or nephew. So I mean, she just, was the center of our world. And she was just such a special girl, so empathetic and sweet and fun, and brave, so much braver than I was. I like to talk about at 4 years old, she just decided she didn't want the little swimmies on her arms anymore. And so she spent that summer in our big in-ground pool teaching herself how to swim and
Wow.
jumping off the diving board. By the end of the summer, she was jumping off the diving board all by herself, swimming the length of the pool. She was fearless like that. So she was just such a bright, bright light in the center of all of our worlds.
Did she have siblings?
She does, yeah.
Okay.
So she's the oldest, yeah.
Okay.
So she has younger siblings. So it's very tough for all of them. And I almost feel like Lily was the glue, because once she passed, I feel like everyone shattered,
Yeah.
right? We all went through the grief really, really hard and very differently. And we learned that too, that we're not going to go through the grief the same way
Oh
or at
no.
the same time. And grief isn't linear, right? Like it's a whole ball of twine that, like, one minute you're fine and the next minute you're crying. You wonder what life is for. You wonder how a God that you love and admire so much could allow such a thing.
Yeah.
You start to question everything about life, everything, like what's it for. And so yeah, I mean, we really all spun. I mean, I remember lots of nights just sitting on the bathroom floor crying,
Yeah.
and listening to songs.
It's
And so, so it really hit us hard. I found that I needed to talk about it, right? Like, she was here, she did matter. I want her pictures up. I want her photo on my dashboard in my car. I want to learn about her and what happened and help others. That's where I find I can direct my energy. My brother, it's very quiet. We don't talk about her. It's so I know he has that, a brave front, right? And I'm sure that a lot of people are scared if they let a crack open that they're going to fall apart.
yeah.
Which does happen. And I kind of associate it with a wave. The wave comes and
Yep.
goes, and sometimes you get pulled under and you're under for a while. And sometimes you might come up to the shore and feel the sunshine. And that's what your life is now. So the first year was really tough because you have of course, all your firsts, right?
Yeah.
But now here we are, almost 9 years. Later this month, she passed on August 17th. It'll be 9 years. And I still can't believe that in my head because, for one, I feel like I haven't heard her voice in forever. But then on the other hand, I feel like it just happened. Like my brain, my
Yeah.
body hasn't recovered. It's not like it doesn't heal, doesn't scab over and go away.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just always there.
I know what you're saying. When you brought up the waves, my next door neighbor, because I was in Phoenix at the time, kind of living there part time, and when I came back, after Preston died, my neighbor had lost his daughter. It's been almost 10 years. She died on graduation night from a car accident. No alcohol, just a regular car accident. And I asked him, I said, does it ever get better? And this was 4 days into losing Preston. He said, it's kind of like an ocean. It comes in waves and then you have good days. And yeah, my first year was terrible. It was terrible. But I was going to be the guy that I was going to get the cartel shut down. I was going to shut the border. I mean, I was going to take care of everything. And that's when when you brought up God, I remember because I became a Christian in 2016. And I remember getting on the plane the next morning and I knew I'm either going to hate God or go to God. I had those
Yeah,
two choices because I thought the same thing. I said, you've already taken one of my children, my other child away. Now you've taken the other one. Now they're both gone. But luckily I did go to God and I've learned so much just from even Tim Keller. I'll promote him. He writes books on suffering and pain and purpose. And that's kind of when I got the gist to just I don't want his name to die in vain. I want other people to hear and I still remember the very first video I did or interview with a local news, and they said, after the national parks, what would be a success? And I said, that one kid comes home and says, Mom and Dad, they were passing out this pill, and I didn't want to end up like that Preston kid. And I was going to be done. I was going to quit. I wasn't going to do anything else. And of course, a lot of people, in the national parks, there was a lot of hatred and stuff. People would say nasty things like they're all drug addicts, they deserve to die, that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
I mean, I still to this day, I've never met an addict that was happy they chose that life. And nobody
right,
chooses that life. That's the whole point. And
right,
the sad thing is, there's a lot of people at the waterfalls that I honored that were addicted, got clean, that some of them were doing 20 or 30 fentanyl pills a day and then they get clean and their tolerance level goes to zero, took one pill and they're gone. And so I try and talk to recovery centers as well, just telling these kids, once that's out of your system, you're going to be
yeah,
like the rest of us, first timers that took a pill and then we find you passed somewhere. And
yeah.
so it's very
Yeah.
scary.
It,
It's,
it it is, and that it's, I can't imagine that pull,
yeah.
to try. And I mean, we talked earlier before coming on here about Mandy and her husband and how they lost their son, and he was at a sober living house. He
Um,
passed on the couch of a sober living house because someone gave him something and it had fentanyl in it.
uh,
So I mean, it's very, very tough. I mean, the temptations and stuff are everywhere, even when you're trying to do the right thing.
yeah.
Look at Rain. I think we both know Rain and
Carla,
her
yeah.
mom. And she knew about fentanyl. She even Googled, like, when someone gave her a Xanax, she Googled, what does a Xanax look like? And was like, yep, that's okay. Yep, that's what I have. So, I mean, even someone who's aware of it got tricked. So it's devastating.
The, uh, the one good thing I can say is I know that I'm on the Dallas Opioid Task Force, and we know that the fentanyl deaths have gone down,
Yeah,
but the poisonings have gone up, which tells us one thing: people like you and everybody else giving out Narcan, that's what's helping, and it's you know, and I still know these numbers are skewed or screwed that we
right,
see, because I even know in my county they had to get rid of the medical examiner because some hospitals don't report.
right.
And then the other thing I noticed was doing the waterfalls and the national parks, being on some of the reservations, the Indian reservations. None of those, because I remember talking to a guy coming back from the waterfall, he's a tribal guy, and I said, y'all have a lot of fentanyl deaths. He goes, thousands, 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 all the time. And I said, they go unreported. And he said, yep, we don't report them. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Lilly. Lily's death was labeled accidental overdose. No fentanyl was mentioned. We only know fentanyl because we, got the autopsy report and everything back, and that's when we saw on toxicology and everything. But it was just labeled accidental overdose. Well, she did drugs, shouldn't have done drugs. And it's just like you don't even know what it was in,
yeah.
because was it an Adderall? Was it a Xanax? We don't know, because they just closed the case, just stamped it done and moved on, went home to dinner.
So nobody was
Um,
prosecuted or caught for,
no,
yeah.
nobody. I mean, and they left her for almost 10 hours. They let her just lay there. And then four of those people this was a graduation party after high school graduation. And there was more than 20 kids there. And she went unresponsive. And instead of calling 911, they came up with stories of, who was there and, changed the whole event of the night, right? And came up with corresponding stories. And then almost 10 hours later, four of them put her body into a car and drove her to a nearby parking lot where someone called 911 to report an unconscious female in a car. And after all of that, no arrests, no prosecutions. They did do a search, and they did find pills and substances in the home. They were never tested. We don't know what had fentanyl in it because they never tested anything. I met face to face with the lead investigating officer, and he told me, budget constraints. If it's not going to move forward to a trial, we're not going to test everything we find. I'm like, well, if you're trying to find fentanyl and you have some powder and you have some pills, I, I mean, the next logical step is to see what had the fentanyl in it.
Yeah.
So how can it move forward if you never find you never even try to find what killed her? And then the four that moved her body,
Nothing happened.
nothing
No,
happened. No.
I never found out the person that did Preston. They gave Preston the stuff, and I tell people I almost feel blessed that I don't know because I've seen some of the people that go through these trials, and you're looking at 2 years. In fact, I've got a friend of mine, an 8-month-old, that they're sitting right now in a jury trial right down the street, and 8-month-old, and the mother's being charged with the death. And it tears up families. So if anybody does listen to this and they've got an upcoming charge, stick together because it's a rough time. It's a really rough time going through. I've seen too many families that it just tears them apart, and that's why I hate to say I feel blessed that I don't know. And
Right.
there's always the vengeance side of me too, because if I knew who it was, I might be going to prison. So
Right. Yeah, that's what my father said.
yeah,
My father was like, I have nothing more to live for. Let me at
yeah,
him.
oh yeah. I didn't care that first year. I was like, what are you going to do to me now? You've taken all my children. My dad's gone. So what do I have left? So it's
Yeah, yeah. Because I used to always put on my Facebook page, blessed child of God. And then after Lily passed, I was like, how can I how can I have that on there? I don't feel blessed
yeah,
anymore, right? Like how can you be blessed
yeah.
when like the center of your world is ripped from your arms? But I am a blessed child of God, and I thank God for getting me and my family through this. So,
Yeah. I,
and we know that Lily's there, and we know that we're gonna see her again. I believe she's in a better place? Not really. I think that she should be here, and
you
I think
said
she was
it.
murdered. Like she was murdered. She was taken from us, but God sees us through, and He
Yeah.
walks with us, and carries us a lot of the time now. But she should still be here. And if it wasn't for their actions, I mean, at one point around four, one of the girls, supposed to be one of her best friends, Kelsey, called someone and said, I, I don't think she's alive. And they told her, do CPR and call 911. And she just hung up on them and
Oh,
didn't do
gee.
it. So, I mean, they just failed her at every single turn.
Well, that
So
you speaking about they're in a better place. I remember Preston's funeral about the fifth person that walked up and said, I don't know what to say. And I said, be glad you don't, because even people at my church were like, he's in a better place. I know, but I still want him here.
yeah,
And
right,
and
right.
I've
Exactly.
I feel now that I did have a gift for 25 years. I do take that as a gift, and some people might not ever have a gift of having a Lily or a Preston or anything.
Right.
And so I try and stay positive that way, at least, and
Yeah.
tell myself, yeah, I miss him. It stinks, and I'll never probably ever go to a movie again in my life because that's what we used to do all the time was go to a movie together. And any Marvel movie, I can't even watch it. I mean, I'm still in. It took me 12 years to get. I was in denial for 12 years after his little brother died. I never talked about it, never did anything. And that's why I kind of started to get men involved because I know what happens. Men don't talk.
Right, exactly. I keep telling my brother and Greg Swan from Fentanyl Fathers keep saying, I'm gonna get your brother. I'm like, look, I don't know, good luck, because yeah, he's a quiet one. He keeps it all inside
Well, the thing that
and
worries me the most is that the divorce rate after losing a child is very, very high. And most of the time it's because men don't share their feelings. And I was just in that position. Preston's mother and I divorced when he was one. But yeah, I mean, I beg for more men. Trust me, I've got the five mothers at Texas Against Fentanyl. There's six of us that are the directors, and I deal with them every week. And I'm just like, I need some men around me. So,
yes, yeah, yeah,
that's me. But yeah. Well,
yeah.
tell me a little bit more about Lily's Light, and then if you could finish off with what's going on the 31st in Jacksonville, if you don't mind.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So yes, I formed Lily's Light about a year and a half ago now when, I went to JU and said, what can I do? And they gave me this platform. They were like, tell us what you need. You've got it. And so I created Lily's Light and, I use the platforms that I have here at JU, and then we're going out into the communities now. We just got approved to present at Duval County schools.
Oh, sweet.
So it's grades 7 through 12. So we've been approved for them. And then I've partnered with Fentanyl Fathers, and we're going to move forward with widening that to other areas of Northeast Florida and throughout
Okay.
Florida. That is when I feel, I guess, that the closest to Lily, like we're doing something together again. That she's walking me through this path. And I remember when I first started doing my presentations, and people would say, you should probably just record your story part of it so you don't have to recall it every time. And I was like, but that's what sets Lily's Light and others like us apart from just someone coming into a school from the DEA or something and showing them numbers and saying, don't do drugs,
Yeah.
um, is when you're raw and when you're
Yeah.
real and when the emotions come out naturally. If I record that, they're
It's,
not going to feel it. And I have to let myself feel it every time. And it is exhausting, but it's important to be real and
yeah.
and to be raw and let them know just what that did to your life and what a beautiful soul that she was that was taken. And so then I met Ashley Lopez, who lost her brother. She lost him to fentanyl. I think I mentioned earlier when it was laced in marijuana. And so she's now the vice president of Lily's Light. And so now we do it together, and we have partnered with Drug Free Duval. And so they'll do like a Narcan training along with our presentation. Like I said, we've partnered with Fentanyl Fathers, so they're great to work with, and we're going to be going and casting a wider net with them as well.
Good.
So this again, like I feel like this is what Lily and I guess, were meant to do together. I always knew we'd be together
Yeah.
forever. We had such a tight bond, but I didn't know in what way it would be. I
It's
guess this is the way that we work together.
Do you think of it as like, because, about speaking, how you're raw, you don't want to record it? I agree with that 100%. And it's for me, I've never, before I get up on a stage or anything, I never think about what I'm going to say because then it sounds fake. And
Mhm.
it's like therapy for me, to be honest. It helps me out. And I've been with other mother, and done this for a living. I've been on stage with physicians in the medical field and talking with all of them. So it's no big deal for me to get up. But mothers will get up and they're like, "Do you think I did a good job?" And I said, "No one will ever judge. Nobody's going to say, I wish I had a better mother up there that could tell the story of her child that passed away." I said, "Nobody's going to do that. You have to make it raw." And yes, and I literally joke with U.S. attorneys and DEA or law enforcement. When they asked me to come speak, I said, "You guys go first because blah, 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 the U.S. attorney, penal code, and all this." And usually the DEA will get up there and give their boring slide. And then I'll get up there and I'll say something like, "Well, I hope everybody's still awake. I'm still awake, I hope." And then you got to make it real. And that's what hits everything is you got to share the personal story that it's not just a, don't do drugs type thing. You got to make it personal. So,
Absolutely. And I feel like this is what Lily and I do together now. And I am more energized when I do that than any other time
yeah,
this whole time. So
yeah,
I feel like since she's passed, that's when I feel most connected to her and the most purpose in my life is
Yeah.
when I am sharing her story to try and help other families and try to save other children and other families from the nightmare that you and I live
Yeah.
every day.
And that I hope your goal is like mine is that one person a day listens to me. That's it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Yes. No matter the size, like I'll have a class, a nursing class, and they have 15 students.
yeah.
And she'll say, can you come talk? I don't care. You've got one person that will listen
Yeah.
to me. I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
I probably talk to somebody once a day, and literally I've said it. I've done it at a Taco Bell. I was leaving Walgreens and somebody saw my car magnet, so I ended up talking to a family out there. I was on an airplane one time and I was telling the flight attendant. I got on the intercom and talked to the people on the plane. I
Oh,
said,
that's right. You told me about
yeah, I
that.
said,
That's
y'all
amazing.
are stuck here, so you're gonna listen to me. So,
See, I like that. Yeah, I went to the bank and was opening up an account for Lily's Light, and someone asked me, like, what's Lily's Light? And before you know it, she's got two
yeah,
kids and she's asking about fentanyl. And so I feel like you're put where you need to be.
yeah.
You're
Well,
put there for a reason.
well, tell me about the beach event, and then we'll close it out. But if you want to tell, because I'm excited now, because I'm going to be right there, so I'm going to come up there and
That's
see you guys.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Yeah. So Lily's Light will be there. Ashley will be there. I did it last year as a participant, and this year we'll have a table as well. And it's Beaches Memorial Walk 2025. It's on International Overdose Awareness Day,
Okay.
which is Sunday, August 31st. And it will be at Jacksonville Beach in Jacksonville, Florida, at the pier. They have a pier
Okay.
there. Sea Walk Pavilion, I think is what they call
Okay.
it. Let's see. I think it starts at 9, ends at 12, and we talk and people share their stories. Sorry, I get emotional.
It's okay.
So people will share their stories and we'll do a walk, and Lily's Light will have a table there, and it's a day for all of us to come together.
Good. Well, I'm excited because I want to meet you guys, and thank you guys so much for doing the ice bucket challenge. And
Yeah.
but this is just perfect timing because I mean I'm going to be in Melbourne the day before, and then I'll go up there and see you guys. So yeah, I've got your information about it. I'm going to post it on the video, and I'm going to put the video together. I'll shoot it out to you a little later today. You approve it, and then we'll send it out. So
All right, sounds great.
thanks
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Wendy. We'll see you
Oh, it
soon.
was great. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Bye
Love you
bye.
much. Bye.
I'm Lilli Pease, and I was nominated to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I was nominated by Phyllis LeFevre, and I'm calling out Tyler LeFevre, Erin Thayer, and Taylor Valley. You have 24 hours.
Here we are, waterfall number 7, Bridal Veil Falls, Northern Oregon. Verse of today is Revelation 21:4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Verse helps me out, and it should help out every other family member out there get through this. Lilli Pease, Forever 18, New Hampshire. Gavin Long, Forever 24, Oklahoma. Aiden Cater, Forever 15, Glendale, Arizona. Tyler Scott Irvine, forever 26, Texas. Drew McGuire, forever 29, Cocoa, Florida. Jade Freeman, forever 30, South Point, Ohio. I would also like to say a special prayer if everybody could pray for Tyler's mom, Linda, as they go and start their trial this week. Prayers to you, and hope this can bring some sort of closure in this healing process. God bless you all and have a great day.